One trend that I've noticed with my NoFap videos is that my NoFap con videos always do better than my NoFap benefit videos. The only logical way to justify this is that there's not as many con videos out there. And that's for a reason. It's because NoFap does more good than it does bad. Okay, I've never heard of anybody doing NoFap and it making their life worse. Ultimately, NoFap is a very good foundational tool to better your life. Overcoming addiction and developing that discipline will always do good for you, no matter what. But you have to understand that no self-improvement tool, including NoFap, will ever be all good. Okay, there's always going to be some type of downside to it. Now, I don't want this video to deter you from doing NoFap. I just want you to be aware of these things so that if they do happen, you'll know how to handle them and you won't be as surprised. Now, the first con that you may notice is the benefits might be a little bit underwhelming. You know, a lot of people come into NoFap with these expectations from these Reddit forums or from videos, and you know, they feel like NoFap is going to give them superpowers. Simply put, they feel like NoFap is going to change their whole entire life. And to an extent, that is true. It can change your life. It definitely changed mine. But what you have to understand is that, you know, NoFap on its own is not going to change your life unless you are addicted to PMO. If you're addicted to PMO, then yes, NoFap on its own will change your life. And it will give you what you perceive as superpowers because your confidence is going to increase tenfold by overcoming that addiction. But you have to understand that for the average Joe who does not have this addiction, the benefits aren't really going to be that pronounced. You know, like for me personally, I didn't really notice most of the benefits until I decided to make a video about it. You know, the 30-day benefit video. A lot of the benefits kind of gradually happen over time, and you don't really notice how far you've come until you decide to look back to before you started. You know, the key is you have to be willing to put in the work. Okay, NoFap is a tool. Like I said, it is a tool that you can use to better your life. But NoFap on its own will not better your life. It will give you the discipline, it will give you the confidence, it will give you the energy, and it will give you the mindset. Okay, what you choose to do with those tools is up to you. But NoFap on its own will not change your life. And that's something that I feel like definitely needs to be addressed, because a lot of people comment saying that NoFap does not work for them, and truth be told, that's because you're not doing anything. You know, I said this in my benefits video, but if you're doing the same exact things that you were doing before you started NoFap, your life's not going to change because you're doing the same things. The next con that I've noticed on NoFap and that a lot of people experience as well is the flatline. Okay, now if you don't know what the flatline is, it's basically like depression, except it doesn't really linger for as long as depression does. So basically, the underlying cause behind the flatline is you are kind of fasting from dopamine in a sense. You know, a lot of times when you become addicted to PMO or you just do it on a very regular basis and it becomes a part of your routine, what ends up happening is your dopamine receptors become desensitized. Okay, so things that would normally give you that dopamine rush no longer do that for you. Because, of course, nothing can compare to the feeling of releasing. You know, as a guy, you know what I'm talking about. Nothing can compare to that feeling. So when you do it so regularly, life starts to become dull. And a lot of people don't really notice this until they have what's known as post-nut clarity. They kind of see that they're wasting their lives away because once that dopamine rush is gone, now they're just left with the disappointment of what they just did. Now, when you stop doing that, especially if you stop doing it overnight, like I did, what ends up happening is because your dopamine receptors are still desensitized, nothing is really going to give you that same rush. And like I said, you're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel depressed for a little bit, or you might not. You know, everyone's experience is different, but a lot of people say that they feel depressed. And the reason why is because your dopamine receptors are still trying to readjust to their normal levels. So nothing is really giving you that high that you used to get from releasing. And this kind of creates like a buffer zone where you just don't experience that type of pleasure, you know, for a little bit. And it does suck. But the key is you have to be willing to wait this out. Okay, the flat line does pass. It does pass, but you have to be willing to wait the flat line out. And once you wait that out and your dopamine receptors return to their normal healthy state, all of a sudden you'll begin to find pleasure in the little things in life. And you'll be much happier overall, just in general. The next con of doing NoFap is you become more emotional. Now, as I've said before, this can be a benefit or a con. Okay, it all depends on how you process your emotions. If you're somebody who does not express your emotions, whether you feel like it makes you less of a man, or you feel like other people are going to perceive you in a certain way for being emotional, if you suppress your emotions, this is a con for you, because now you're going to have a lot of extra baggage. All of the things that you've been suppressing are going to start to resurface, and you're going to have these waves of emotion that are very difficult to control. Okay, the key is you have to learn to channel this emotion through healthy outlets. I say this all the time on my channel, but you are not supposed to suppress your emotions. You need to learn to take these emotions, the anger, the sadness, the hurt, all of these emotions that you feel and that you're probably uncomfortable with expressing, and learn to express them in a healthy, productive way that promotes growth overall. So for example, if you're dealing with anger, and this is definitely something that you will experience, agitation, and I'll get into that in a second. But if you're experiencing anger on NoFap, go to the gym, start working out. You have to learn to transmute your emotions. Okay, emotions can be a very powerful and potent source of fuel if you know how to use them correctly. Now, as I was saying with agitation, one thing that you're going to notice is things will kind of irritate you a lot easier on NoFap. And the reason why this is because you are depriving yourself of the one thing that your body wants to do. That's what your body wants to do, and more than likely, you've probably convinced yourself that this is what you're supposed to be doing every day, mentally. You've conditioned your mind to justify this action. And now, because you're not doing it, because you're deviating from this pleasure that you are so accustomed to experiencing day in and day out, you're gonna be mad. Things are gonna set you off. You're gonna be on edge. I think I made this analogy in another video, but it's just like if a kid wants to go outside and that's all they want to do and you won't let them do that. They're gonna get mad. They're gonna get mad. They're gonna get frustrated. It's the same way with you and releasing. If you feel like things are setting you off a lot easier, you feel like a loose cannon, you need to learn to take this energy. Don't suppress it. Okay, do not suppress this energy, because the day that somebody finally breaks you is the day that you might end up in jail or dead. So you need to learn to take this energy and process it in a healthy way. Okay, go to the gym. I'm telling you, NoFap and working out go hand in hand. Okay, you need to learn to process this emotion in a healthy way. Same with sadness, pain. You get your heart broken. Don't suppress that. Write about it. Make a video about it. Talk about it with somebody. But don't suppress these negative emotions. Use these emotions as fuel to create a foundation of positivity from within. The next con that I've noticed on NoFap is that my standards have gotten lower. And I feel like my judgment has changed a little bit in terms of dating. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a virgin. I don't believe in hooking up, and I stand by these morals. I stand by these morals no matter what anybody says. Because I just don't believe in hooking up. It just doesn't feel right to me. And I'll probably make a video about that in the future. But since I started NoFap, the idea of hooking up has become more and more appealing to me. Now, I'm very mentally strong and disciplined, so I know that I'm not going to give in to this desire, but it's there. For the first time in my life, the desire to hook up, to get on Tinder, and have one-night stands is there. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I have to find a way to get this off. I have to release somehow. And hooking up seems like the most logical way to do that if I'm not going to relapse. But obviously, like I said, I don't believe in doing that. If that's what you do, then cool, you do you. But, me personally, I see this as a con. You can see this as a benefit because it can motivate you to go out and talk to girls more. But me personally, I see it as a con because it kind of distracts me from not only my purpose, but my morals and ethics as well. The next con that I've noticed is you develop kind of an internal pressure to keep going. Your standards for yourself get higher. And you know, this is a good thing. You should hold yourself to a high standard because you're capable of achieving whatever you want to achieve in life. But at the same time, you want those standards to come from a place of self-love. You don't want your self-love and your self-respect and self-worth to be contingent upon NoFap. Okay, if relapsing makes you hate yourself, you're in this for the wrong reasons, okay? NoFap is supposed to be done out of self-love as opposed to for self-love. You should do it because you love yourself, not so that you can love yourself. Okay, you should love yourself, and because you love yourself, you choose to improve yourself and build on that foundation of self-love. This is why a lot of people relapse. Okay, a lot of people relapse because they're doing it to get validation from themselves without realizing that they should give themselves that validation just for existing, and everything else should come after that. And for me personally, I figured this out very early, and that's why I don't relapse. You know, I do this because I love myself. Just like I said in my discipline video, discipline is an act of self-love. You know, and NoFap takes a lot of discipline, and it also builds a lot of discipline within you.